Yo, what is going on, everybody? Hell of a first week of football, but absolutely fantastic to have it back. Sorry I didn't upload a recap video. I'll be planning to do those in the future, just run into some technical issues on the back end. Next week, though, I should have that for you on Monday morning. Today, we're going to be going over the best waiver wire pickups for week 2 of fantasy football. I'm really only going to be talking about the running backs or wide receivers. I can mention some quarterbacks and tight ends, but for the most part, a lot of those guys are kind of just streamers, so nobody's significant really over there. I honestly don't even know if there's any super clear running back one or wide receiver one to pick up. There's definitely a lot of great options, but nobody that really sticks out to me. Let's get right into it, the running backs. All right, so first up, I got Jeff Wilson of the San Francisco 49ers. He's obviously going to be replacing Elijah Mitchell as he's going to be out for a few weeks with a knee injury. He's only rostered in about 20% of leagues and played basically every single snap once Elijah Mitchell went out. Now, he didn't look that good, but it's really hard to take a lot away from that game with just how much was going on in the rain and the weather and everything. But somebody getting that opportunity in the Niners offense is going to be a clear pickup like Elijah Mitchell was last year in week 1. So Jeff Wilson is going to be my number one running back for this first week. After that, I have the other side of the ball. I actually have Cleo Herbert. He's rostered in 47% of the league, so probably rostered, but definitely go check if he's not. Now, David Montgomery was still the clear lead running back in this offense, but Cleo Herbert honestly just looked better, and as the game progressed, they started giving him more and more snaps, and that is something that could continue as the season goes on, and you don't really want to miss that. There was a lot of talks in the offseason about this offense being better for Cleo Herbert, and we kind of saw it in week 1, so I'm not going to be projecting that going forward, but it definitely the possibility of happening, and so I would definitely try to scoop up Cleo Herbert if he's on your waiver wire. After that, I'm going to have Rex Burkhead of the Houston Texans. He's only rostered in about 15% of the leagues, and he's actually the starting running back for the Texans as of right now. Now, I imagine that Dameon Pierce will eventually take it over, but for the time being, he is a lead back, and he's getting most of the receiving work. He actually played 50 snaps compared to Dameon Pierce's 20, so had over double the amount of snaps. And they tied the Indianapolis Colts, so they're probably going to be a little bit better than people imagine. And a starting running back who gets pass volume is somebody that I want on my team. So Rex Burkhead is my number 3 waiver wire running back. After that, as another high percentage owned person, is Jamal Williams, who's rostered in about 46% of leagues. And he is the backup running back to DeAndre Swift, but he's obviously going to be utilized. He had 2 touchdowns in week 1 and got basically all of the red zone work. So if that continues, he's going to have value week over week. And another person where if DeAndre Swift goes out, then he's going to be an absolute stud. And unfortunately, probably will hold DeAndre Swift back from being that Christian McCaffrey type player, but DeAndre Swift's still going to be a top 10 running back. He's just too talented not to be. But if Jamal Williams is there, very interested in him. Next up, I got Dontrell Hilliard of the Tennessee Titans. He also caught 2 touchdowns this past week and is going to be the clear backup to Derrick Henry. Now, I don't know if they're going to use him like this every single week. We're going to have to see continuing forward, but another person who could have value week over week by himself and also will be a key handcuff to have going forward. I'm a number 6 running back. I have Isaiah Pacheco. He didn't really do much until there was garbage time, but he absolutely dominated them and showed that he can really do it in the NFL. So he's another person who's going to be a handcuff. And while there was some projection that you could take over that role, Clyde looked really good. So it's kind of tough to see that happening, but you got to keep your eye on Isaiah Pacheco because he's going to be getting involved more and more as the season goes on and looks really good. He's my running back 6 for this waiver wire pickup. And the last running back I want to talk about is Kenyon Drake of the Baltimore Ravens. He by far played the most snaps of any of the Ravens running back. And although he wasn't very productive, he still got 11 attempts. And in that offense with that volume is going to be someone that I'm interested in, but at the bottom of my running back waiver wire pickups for that reason. So those are my top 7 running backs for the waiver wire pickups. I'll go through them again one more time and they'll be up on the screen right here. It's Jeff Wilson, Cleo Herbert, Rex Burkhead, Jamal Williams, Dontrell Hilliard, Isaiah Pacheco, and Kenyon Drake. All right, moving on to my wide receivers. The first pickup I have is Curtis Samuel of the Washington Commanders. He's rostered in about 13% of fantasy league. It was really nice to see him back on the field healthy. He ended up having 11 targets and 8 receptions for 55 yards, a touchdown. He also had 4 rushes for another touchdown. So he's really being utilized and a ton in this offense. All the wide receivers were here yesterday. If Jahan Dotson is on the waiver wire, definitely go look to pick him up. I don't think he is. He's rostered in over 50% of the league, so I didn't mention him here, but definitely go and check on that. But Curtis Samuel looked really good. He got a ton of volume. I don't expect him to get the same amount of volume every single week, but he definitely has the opportunity, as he obviously showed. So he's somebody that I'm extremely interested in. I might be leaning toward him as my main pickup just because the leagues where I really need to pick someone up, I need a wide receiver more than a running back, and none of the running backs really stick out to me. So very interested in Curtis Samuel. Excited to see his usage going forward. Next up, I have Robbie Anderson of the Carolina Panthers, rostered in 17% of leagues. He had a really good day yesterday with 8 targets, 5 receptions for right over 100 yards and a touchdown. He had that one really big breakaway touchdown, which is nice to see. But him and DJ Moore seem to be the clear wide receivers. They ran the same amount of routes, played the same amount of snaps. Robbie just got a little bit more work, so it'll be interesting to see if that's Baker's favorite target or if it was just the game, how it played out. But definitely someone you got to keep your eye on, and part of the reason why I have him ranked so highly here for my waiver wire pickup. So Robbie Anderson, wide receiver 2 on my waiver wire pickups. After that, I'm going to have Donovan Peoples-Jones. He played the same amount of snaps as Amari Cooper, and he also ran the same amount of routes, so pretty much even in their usage. He just got 11 targets with 6 receptions, whereas Amari Cooper only got 6 targets. So another person who has the opportunity to kind of take that wide receiver 1 role away. I kind of doubt that'll happen. Amari Cooper's still very good, but at least for this first week, he showed to be valuable, and we can see that going forward. So 11 targets on the most routes run on the team. Somebody that just purely volume based, I think you have to be interested in. So my wide receiver 3 in my waiver wire pickups is Donovan Peoples-Jones. All right, at my wide receiver 4, I'm going to have Devin Duvernay of the Baltimore Ravens. He's rostered in about 21% of leagues. He had 2 touchdowns yesterday and looked really good. Caught all 4 of his targets, and he only ran 18 routes. Being targeted on over 20% of the routes that you've run is a really, really high number and is very encouraging to me. Now, I still think that Rashad Bateman will probably be the wide receiver 1 here, but Devin Duvernay definitely has opportunity to take that number 2 role away, and he's only 25 years old, so he's still very young and can show that he's still a good wide receiver. Another person that'll be interesting to see his role and where it actually leads into the next couple weeks, but keep your eye on him and pick him up if he's available. All right, 5th on my wide receiver list is Greg Dortch of the Arizona Cardinals. He's only rostered in 2% of leagues, so should be available in most leagues. He's a clear wide receiver 2 in my opinion. He ran the same amount of routes as Hollywood Brown while having more targets and receptions than him. DeAndre Hopkins is also going to be out for at least the first 6 weeks. We'll see what happens with Rondell Moore. So there just seems to be a lot of opportunity for him here. And I think that can definitely continue just given the vacancy of everybody else. And although they didn't look great, this is still should be a good offense, and they don't have a very good defense, so there's going to be a lot of passing that they're going to have to do. So if you just need someone who can get you a couple points, this guy could be good. If you're in a dynasty league, he's probably available, so definitely look to pick him up. I have Greg Dortch here at number 5. At number 6, I have Kyle Phillips of the Tennessee Titans. He had the most targets yesterday on the team. Didn't do a lot with them. I mean, 6 receptions for 66 yards is pretty solid. And they also invested a lot in the offseason. I mean, not a lot. Treylon Burks they had made some investments in the offseason. Austin Hooper too. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that progresses. But right now, Kyle Phillips looks like the guy you kind of want, at least for the time being. So pick him up if all the other guys are taken ahead. I'm not very confident of him keeping up production, but it definitely is someone to keep your eye on. So look towards Kyle Phillips if you need, last second guide. Similar in the vein of Greg Dortch, just I don't think quite as good of an offense. So yeah, that was my top 6 wide receiver pickups. You'll see them right here on the screen. I'll go over them again. It's Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Devin Duvernay, Greg Dortch, and Kyle Phillips. I always feel weird about kind of talking about the people you should drop for these people because it can really differ league to league, team to team. So if you have specific questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I can get back to you on if you should drop this person for this person. Really quickly, wanted to go over some quarterbacks without getting too much detail. Obviously, Cooper Rush is going to be someone of interest given that Dak's going to be gone. Carson Wentz looked really good, so he's a great pickup. Marcus Mariota has the rushing ability still and looked pretty solid, so definitely pick him up if he's available. Geno Smith last night looked pretty solid too, so not someone that I'm extremely scared of. Those are kind of the guys that I'd be looking at. At tight end, OJ Howard had 2 touchdowns, very interesting. Taysom Hill seems like he'll be used a decent amount. Gerald Everett got a lot of looks. Robert Tonyan and Tyler Higbee. Those guys all got looks, seemed relatively interesting for tight end. If you're looking for a guy there, that's who I would recommend. All right, but there's the first week of waiver wire pickups. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to start working my rankings today. Those should be coming out as the week progresses. Make sure to drop a like on this, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Later.